Hi everybody, welcome to today's tour. It is Wednesday the 5th of April 2023 and we've got an absolutely wonderful tour for you today. We're going to be visiting SnapCab in Canada, just down the road from where I live.
Thanks so much for having us on board here. So you've done a tour last year at SnapCab down in Pennsylvania, and you went over a lot of, I think you spent all the time doing shop processes. We're going to do a few shop processes here, but what we're really going to focus on is how we recruit people, because it doesn't matter what you do with lean if you don't have people that want to join in and build a lean community with you. You're not going anywhere. So that's what we want to share today. But Richard said we really want to see something in your shop, so I'm going to turn it over to Seth, and he's going to show you how the jobs flow just on our operations board.
So I wanted to share with you guys something really important that we do here, which is the beginning of the day. So at the beginning of the day, all the staff shows up here at 6:30 in the morning, and you can imagine they probably want to know what they're doing through the day. So what we've created is a labor board. So this labor board is mapped out of our building, and it shows all the different cells within the building. So what we do first thing is we take attendance. We make sure we have everybody that we need. And when somebody's missing, per se, they would go into our absent today section. And then we can talk about backfilling with the team as we have them all around us. So this coincides with some of our production boards that we use here. So you'll see.
No, everything's great. And Seth, I love how visual that is. It's very well done. Keep going.
It makes it really easy for new staff as well. If you get a new face around here, they go to the board. You can see the photos that we had up that had all the names of everybody. Makes it really nice and easy for them. Moving to our production boards, this is a weekly production board of what we're going to produce. And you'll notice that we have different stages through this. So each magnet that goes on this board, they're completely movable. We'll move through the stages as the stage items are completed. So we ask ourselves that once they've completed, in this case, like glass, ceilings, subs, and CNC, that they come over here and check it off as a team. Once those are done, they can move on into our second stage, because they know that everything in stage one's been done. Stage two process can begin because they know they have all the components to finish the work. In the case that something goes wrong, something's damaged, things happen, we have a hold pile. So one of the jobs in the schedule will go down in the hold, and then it'll get a sticky note on it saying what the hold item is. So we'll put that complete project on stop in all departments and wait for the hold item to be resolved. Once it's resolved, right back into the stage that it was in last. And then it can continue to move.
And how often, Seth, do you get something down in the hold area?
Every now and then, like a panel will get damaged. We have to reorder something. It'll go into the hold item. Like you see, there's one hold item here for it's for a shipping situation, actually, for in this case. So it can happen weekly, and then we try and put a team on it right away to resolve whatever the hold issue is. And then it's about getting the process back in action again. So. And
what do the 4 stages take? Generally speaking, what do those 4 stages take to get through your shop?
So the first stage that we have here is normally the subcomponents before we start the full assembly of our units here. We're looking for some of this stuff, about 4 units a day for us. So I like to divide it up between breaks for some of them. And then like we have targets and actuals on the side so we can keep honest with ourselves. And then we track what we've completed through the days. You'll notice on this board over here, actually, for our cab products, that we have cells. We have 2 cells working, and then each cell can track how many units they've completed through the week.
Now, Seth, how much is this like Pennsylvania? Are you guys mirror image?
Yeah, so they're doing something similar in Pennsylvania. Of course, we try different things from each other and learn from each other. So they showed us a process that they do very similar, same stage process, same breakdown of departments and checking and all that. We try and refine off each other and learn.
First of all, SnapCab, what they do is they make elevator interiors for companies that want to remodel their elevators. Did I get that right?
That's right.
Go ahead.
Well, it's just that and we make these pods. So we make about 4 of these pods, and they go from these small pods to here's a 6-foot by 6-foot pod being fabricated here.
And who typically is going to use that pod, just so we know, Glenn?
Normally it's open office people. Like we sell a lot to Amazon, Starbucks, Samsung, people like that, large corporations usually.
And they're using it in the corporate office, right? They're not using
yes,
it in Starbucks, corporate office
for
environment.
their corporate offices, right? And
Okay, got it.
we're using them for factory floors. Are amazing. So we probably have 10 of them out on our factory floor here.
No
We're moving our
kidding.
since we were in Japan, we're getting our engineers out of the office, out of the back, and they're getting moved out onto the factory floor, right where the work's being done.
Wow. And so now they have a
Awesome.
quiet place, but they're on the floor.
That's right.
So they're accessible.
That's right. Yeah. So they can be in an office, something like this, or I can show you as we walk around. I'll show you one before this is over.
Cool.
So let's get to
Very
what
cool.
let me get into the recruiting part. So let's say Seth wants some more shop workers. Seth will go to our operations manager. They'll come up with a job description together, and they'll figure out what it is they're really looking for. And then once they get that, they get together with Nikki, who is our employee experience specialist, and she'll work on a job description and a video, and she's going to take you through how she does that.
Hi, everyone. It's really awesome to see
Nikki.
everyone
Hi, Nikki.
Great to see you.
virtually, I suppose. So here at SnapCab, we do recruitment a little bit differently. Like I'm an HR person. I've done recruitment in super structured places and private places. And I must say our recruitment process here is definitely the most unique. So we actually create a page on our careers page on our website for every single job that we're posting externally. And we like to do this because this is the very first time an individual comes in contact with our organization. So this is a position we currently have posted. These are the folks who are actually on the floor building our pods, building the cabs, which are the elevator interiors. And this position we title the woodworker production technician position. So on our careers page, something that is really unique about us is that we create a job video for every single role. So this job video talks about the requirements of the position, the more kind of nuances of the role. We hear from the manager of the position, we hear from teammates of the position. And the objective here is to give someone kind of a more day-to-day look at what the job actually does here at SnapCab, and to be able to shed some light on our values and shed some light on the type of person who works really well in this culture.
So in other words, in the very beginning, it showed a video that was playing, and that was the actual kind of work that that person would be doing for that specific job that's available.
Exactly. So we do this for every single role. We want people to actually see like elements of our culture, elements of the day-to-day life, so they can get a much better kind of impression of what we're looking for, other than just reading a job description on a piece of paper. So
and on your shirt it says "Be kind, be authentic,
be kind,
and
be authentic, and be useful." These are our values here. You'll also get to know that Glenn has written a book. It's called A Human Business. If you aren't sure, we can get you a copy of A Human Business if you're curious to read it. And that leads us right into the next step of this process. On our website, we actually have candidates walk through a series of career videos. And these career videos, there are 5 of them, and they go through each principle of A Human Business, so Glenn's book. So first, create a foundation of caring, understanding your ruling love, focus on being useful, embracing your problems and weaknesses, and modeling your business after the human form. So after watching these series of career videos, a candidate has an incredibly clear picture of our culture and what it means to be an employee here. So after going through all of that, like at this point, a candidate has probably watched about 45 minutes of videos about us and about our history here at SnapCab. So they've already put in the work, and our point next is to have them complete the application to actually dive in and give them an opportunity for us to get to know them. So our questions on our application page are going to be incredibly simple for someone who has watched those career videos. So once they answer a series of these very simple questions, then they're walked through the video component. So like I said, video is a huge part of how we communicate here at SnapCab. And at this point, they've watched a series of videos about us. So now we want the opportunity to watch a video about you. So the videos are very creative. People really, really go crazy in their videos. It's amazing. So they talk about, you know, why they're interested in joining our team, what they're truly passionate about, really why they feel that they could bring a sense of usefulness here at SnapCab. So the video is a really great way to get to know someone beyond their resume and give them such a wonderful opportunity to show us the characteristics about what makes them unique, how they're kind, how they're authentic, and how they can be useful. And this is an example of a video. I'm not going to share the audio for this, but this is Steven. In Steven's video, what we really loved about it is that he shows that he is an incredibly passionate person. He is very clear on what he loves to do. He's a teacher. He is a lifelong learner. And one thing that's really interesting is he's incredibly authentic about the fact that he has absolutely zero background in the skilled trades. So what makes it really incredible working here at SnapCab is that we hire for culture first, and then kind of technical aptitude comes next. So as long as an individual is incredibly authentic about what they know and what they don't know, usually that person is someone who is going to be really great coming onto the shop floor and learning new skills. And for us, we find it incredibly more valuable for someone to come in already showing the cultural aspects, and then we can teach them how to use a hand drill. We can teach them how to use a saw. So our recruitment is really more about understanding the things that we want to teach and the things that we want people to come here already with. And being kind, being authentic, and being useful are the things that we need people to come in the door already with those characteristics. And then we can teach them the skills after. So at this stage, we watched this video. Steven was an amazing candidate. He was incredibly authentic, and we decided, yes, we want to meet him. So Glenn's going to take it from here and walk you through the next stage of the process.
Well, Nikki,
how long have you been doing it this way?
A couple of years.
I mean, you went through this when you were hired.
I did.
I remember Nikki's video. She composed a song and played guitar in her video.
Oh,
I did,
my
yeah.
gosh. Wow.
I know.
Cool.
And a lot of people do really creative things. It's always such a pleasure watching these videos because in my experience as an HR person, you really have no concept of who a person is until they come in for that interview. But how we do it here at SnapCab is such a better way to get some really great personal characteristics right off the hop.
One thing about all those videos that people see, it helps filter people out, because people that are not into our company culture, they'll drop off, and it filters those people out. And the people that are into the company culture, they'll watch those videos, 2 and 3 times. And you can tell right when you start talking to people, you can, by how they respond to those videos, if they're into the company culture.
First of all, your facility looks amazing, and you do primarily wood fabrication, but you're also doing metal fabrication as well, correct?
Yep, that's right.
What are your, just real quickly for everyone listening, what are your core competencies in terms of fabricating? Wood, metal, anything else?
So we're really have a woodworking background, and now we're doing a lot of work in aluminum. So we do a lot of aluminum processing, and we have a lot of aluminum extrusions custom made for us, and that's what we build these pods with.
And Glenn, just again, you were originally a cabinet maker. Is that what you were?
Yep.
When you started the company? Yeah, just like me. And what year did you start what year did you start the company?
I started as a cabinet maker in '83. We started doing elevators in '90. We came up with the SnapCab system, became SnapCab in 1998, with a system that were these panels that were a systematic way to do the elevators. And then in 2016, asked by WeWork to come up with a pod system because they saw our elevator interiors and said, oh, you could create a pod. We ended up taking that idea and deciding to go into the pod business. So we just used our elevator panels and built the pods with those.
You and I mirror exactly the times we started. 83, starting a cabinet maker, 97 fast cap, almost identical. Amazing.
Yep. Nikki somehow magically appeared over here.
So at this point, we saw Steven's video. He seemed like a really incredible candidate. So we brought him in to do an interview. And so in our interview process, Glenn finds it really, really important that he is in pretty much every single interview that we do here at SnapCab. So can you tell us a bit why?
I would say one of the most important jobs that I have, and the most important things to be done is be very careful who you bring on board, because it's so expensive to train an employee, and you want to get people that fit the best you can. And if they're not a fit, we're okay with parting ways with people, but we really are looking to getting the best group possible. So that's why I'm interested in meeting everyone and making sure. Would we and all of us want to spend time with this person?
What is the number one thing that really gets your attention that somebody's the right fit? What is the number one thing?
We ask questions like, if you won in the lottery and you didn't have to work at all, what would you do with your time? And things like that. Or when you were in high school, before you were worrying about what you're going to do because you had to pay for the overhead of your life. When you're in high school, what did you want to do for a living? And you start getting at, you know, some people.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like one of our top guys out in the shop, he wanted to be a fireman. Then he went into get into that business, and then he realized he had to go and do medical stuff on the side of the road and stuff like that. That was part of the job, and he couldn't deal with the trauma part. So, but it told me that he cared about people. We're looking for people that have an interest in caring for people.
So we're in the interview. So we have our executive team members really asking questions like, you know, what did you want to do in high school? Try to really understand how this person fits into our key values. And we also have folks just like John and Seth who are our production focus, and they are evaluating the technical aptitude. So does that person have a willingness to learn? Do they have the aptitude to learn? And if they don't come with the skills, what skills do we need to teach them if they come in the door? So in the interview, a lot of people do ask us like how we're actually scoring candidate based on culture. And we do that based on the 5 principles of a human business. So foundation of caring. So do they have a positive impact on the work that they do? Understanding their ruling love. So are they clear on what they really love? Foundation of usefulness. So does that love align with the work that we have here at SnapCab? Embracing problems and weaknesses. So does that candidate seem authentic and comfortable with the problems and weaknesses they have at work? And the human form. So does that person seem respectful and truly collaborative? Because everything that we do here is so collaborative that really the fit that the person has coming in has such an impact on how that collaboration takes place. So at this point, with Stephen as an example, we have decided that, you know what, that was an awesome interview. He fits all of the boxes that we're looking for. And so what do we do next?
Right. Well, then, since Seth was the manager that was looking to hire the worker, Seth, can you take, now that you're done your interview, I'm assuming, you would take him for a tour of the shop. And then while he's going for a tour of the shop, the rest of us would hang back here and have a discussion of whether or not we want to offer him a job, because if it's a home run, we'll offer him a job before he leaves the building. So when he comes back from the tour, we'll make him an offer. If we want to keep looking at candidates, we'll just say thanks for coming in, and we'll put him in a pool with other candidates that we're looking at. So now, this is the amazing thing, and I didn't tell you about this product, Paul, but we have a time machine here. Have you seen this time machine? So yeah, so there, let me get in here.
All right. Are you gonna get?
Here we go.
Like,
oh, hold on. All right, we're going into the future. Hold on. All right.
Can't wait to see this one.
Okay. Okay. Woo. Woo. Okay.
Oh my God.
We're over a year in the future. Now we can meet future Steve and see how the job's working out for him. Come on this way. Hey, here's future Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Paul. Everybody.
So Steve, you've been here for a year.
Yeah.
You were attracted by our system online with the videos and all that. I knew we hired you because of cultural fit, and you hired us because you thought, why did you come here actually? And what was your thinking?
Yeah. So I was attracted. I saw the job online, but then it directed me to the website. You had to watch a bunch of videos, and that's what it drew me to the company. Actually, it was it just seemed like a very different idea, very different style, different format, that they were focusing on culture rather than a whole bunch of other things. And so, yeah, it drew me in. And so then I applied, I got the job, which was amazing because I didn't have the skills for the position that I applied to. I had I was very skill challenged for the position I applied to, but the company was really kind to bring me in. They paired me with an expert for a couple of months. And then when I kind of started to work alone, those experts, there were multiple experts working around me. So whenever I had a problem, I can just go ask for help. So it was great for me. It helped build my confidence. It gave me new skills so that I was able to really master what I was employed to do. And then another great factor is this whole no fear culture that we have here at SnapCab. And so all of my mistakes, and I made a lot of mistakes, I could just post them up on this Gemba board and list out what I did wrong or what was going wrong with my day or my problem. And every day, the management would come around, meet with me, take time to work through any of those problems, resolve any of those problems. And not only do I get the problem solved, but they would also, I'm rewarded
for doing it. I get a little ticket.
Right.
And so I get a ticket and I collect these, and I got a lot of them because I had a lot of problems at first, less and less as I went on. And then at the end of the month, we have an all company meeting where SnapCab buys us lunch and we can hang out and eat. And then afterward, we have an all company meeting. And part of that meeting is this prize wheel where people with the most tickets exchange them. Whoever wins the kind of the month for the most tickets, you come up and you spin the wheel, and we have all kinds of different prizes that we can win. And yes, I have won a few times actually because of my ticket count. So, and you have all kinds of different things on here, money or coupons to different companies, or you get a surprise box, and there's like
there's a router.
Oh,
my
that was
last
so
one was
cool.
a blender used every day. Yeah, and then so I've been, I had the opportunity to be honest about where I'm at, and so being authentic is part of what we're doing, and then experiencing the kindness of people I worked with, and then just even that the company has these meetings to communicate where we're at, what's going on, and I can win prizes. Oh, and I should also say the anniversary videos. So they do these anniversary videos at these meetings too, where when I was here for 1 year, they interviewed in secret. They get a few staffed and they interview them, and then they put together a video that they show at this meeting. So it's kind of cool. People had nice things to say about me. Yeah, they did. Seriously, I know you're doubting, but they did.
No, I'm not. I'm not doubting at all. I love the whole thing. And so I have a few questions real quick. So Glenn, this is a very unique culture, and I love it. Is this your brainchild, or how did this whole thing come about?
This came from the Turnbacks. That came from Edo University. We learned that from United Technologies, had a quality school that Otis Elevator sent me to, and they said Turnbacks are gold. Your problems are gold. Putting them on a sheet and tracking them like this was a company called Fresco in Pennsylvania. They make coffee labels, coffee bean labels. Anyway, this is what they were doing. So we took what they were doing and we learned from them. This, I think we just added this because it was more fun to spin a wheel than it was to hand them a prize.
While some of these things are borrowed and adapted, a lot of the culture, look, Glenn won't say this, but a lot of the culture of the kindness and authenticity, that is more Glenn's brain. And even the human business model that makes it a nice company to work at, the culture emphasis, that is Glenn's.
We're using the human body as an analogy for how an organization should run, because we noticed that you have a head with some direction, you have manufacturing, and it's easier to use that as an analogy. So you notice your body doesn't compete with itself. That would be a disease. So there's a lot of interesting things. So you could get my book, or we could chat about that for a long time. But
I would love to get your book on my app if it's possible. We got to get an audio version on the app.
Okay, it's kind of like a spiral bound. It's not very formalized. We just did it for internal so far. Okay,
okay,
that would be great.
I think it's wonderful.
All right, well, come on. So there's one last piece to this. So by the way, you can. Oh, here's one of these pods on the factory floor here. I'm not sure how 5S it was. That wasn't part of the tour. So Sahizo used to have her office on the second floor, but she's now moved it down just off of the factory floor. So our general manager's here, and her office is a boardroom. And the last part of what we do here is every employee gets a development meeting. So she's going to go over what the development meeting is. But while I'm rolling on the development meeting, when we hired Stephen, he had a love of putting on kids summer camps. He loved doing that. And I'm like, we need to run this place like a kid's summer camp. We need this man. So it wasn't until after he'd been here for a year, learning how he actually doing the work, that he came to a development meeting, and then that led to him helping us with what we're doing here. So we can maybe talk a little bit more about the development meeting and then what came out of that for Stephen.
Hey, thanks,
Hi, Sisa.
Hi, Paul. Nice to see you. Hi, everyone. And I'm excited to share our employee development process with all of you. And it's been a very something that everyone feels that they're part of this company. So what happened normally is, there's training for our employees when they join the company for about 3 months. And after that, the manager would sit down with the employee and get to know the employee, checking in with them and see how things has been going for the past 3 months, their training, any tools they need, and get to know the employee better. And that's how the employee feel that, they can be useful to the company. As a result of that, we take it one next step. We have a leadership team with Glenn and himself, myself, the operations manager, the employee, and the production manager. We would sit down with the employee and have a very simple tool. We use a very simple tool, as we know here, and this is the Excel sheet that we keep track our employee development plan. And that's when, in that meeting, we get to know the employee, ask them some questions, very simple questions. What do you love to do? And, what lights you up in the morning to come to work? And where do you want to be in the next year, 2 years, 5 years time? At the same time, we have an opportunity to tell the employee where the company is going. So combining the two, where the company wants to go and what the employee loves to do, really, help us to prepare that plan for the employee and gives them a better idea, what steps we're going to take with them to take them to the next level. So as you guys know, Stephen was one of the employees that we sat down with him a year ago, and we got to learn that, he already listened to 2-second lean from Paul Akers. He's been doing that while he's been working on the shop floor, and guess what happened? So Glenn, you want to take us what happened after that?
Right. So he came in and he said, I've kind of mastered all the spots on the floor. So he came in with no background in doing manufacturing, but then he learned it very quickly. It's not as interesting as it was for me when I first came here because I was learning so much, but I feel like I've really mastered this. C's and I and John were thinking, well, now's the time. If he's feeling like he's ready to move, how would you like to be our trainer? And Stephen has a background of teaching. So he very quickly ended up going to Japan, and we had an amazing trip in Japan. If anybody has the opportunity to go to Japan with Paul, I've been to Japan a number of times, but Paul was the only time I went with an actual CEO who built his company using lean. It's different than a consultant, and he has a gift for teaching, and he has that background of actually having done it himself. So
thank you, Glenn. I appreciate that. Glenn, I have a couple of questions. No, so what was Stephen hired for originally? What was the position? To work on the shop floor?
He was hired to work on the shop floor, but we knew he had a love of teaching.
Right.
So we're like, well, this is crazy. This guy that has a love of teaching and doing kids' day camps wants to work on the shop floor. We knew when we hired him, he wasn't going to stay on the shop floor. As much as we can, we try to get people on the factory floor and then promote to engineering, promote to sales, promote to other parts of the company off of the shop floor.
Most people go through the shop floor experience, so they understand what you're doing.
That's right. So we wanted to show a little bit of a clip. So from our trip, we've made quite a long series of training videos that we're just starting to roll out now. We have a little clip that we're going to show about 1 minute of one.
Part of our tour with Paul Akers and his Japan experience was that we always had to have our hats, identifying who we were and for safety purposes. And then we also had to have name tags. He said, every day you got to have these. And so he helped you set up a system so that it wouldn't be, so it'd be foolproof.
We learned about Henkaten, which is, it's a warning that this is a change point. So he was saying, you may forget these. It's like a Henkaten. This is a change point. You don't normally have a hat. You don't normally have a name tag. So why don't you put them on your door handle in your hotel room so when you got to leave in the morning, you won't be out there being late for the bus, missing your hat.
Yeah, that's right. And so it was a routine that you set up.
Right, which was another Japanese word, a pokeyoke. So we made a little pokeyoke to take care of the Henkaten.
In that sense, it was kind of similar to the doorway in that it was all set up so that it was kind of, it was mistake proof. You knew to take off your shoes, you knew where to put them. All the systems were in place.
That's right.
And kind of built around a value they had. Paul said to me, I was talking about culture and how to develop a culture of lean at SnapCab. And the one thing that he said to me that really stood out was we should put kata around our values. We should put routines around our values. And so what's important to SnapCab Ask that question. And then what routines can we put around it? Because that's going to help form and develop a culture that we want to see, a healthy, thriving culture at SnapCab.
That's clear. Yeah, I can't wait to start adding more routines, katas, to build up, support, and enable our values here at SnapCab.
All right.
Beautiful.
So that's
I
brilliant.
love this teaching style, Glenn, that you're doing. You and Stephen are doing this on producing a whole learning series on this format.
I think we have
Phenomenal.
probably 6 hours of training material. 18 videos. Yep.
It's so well done.
So we're just rolling it out now, and it's being very well received. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, incredible.
So,
the little snippets that you show there, you've actually got the learnings that you can share at morning meetings. And I'm sure that quite a number of those people watching are going to say, Glenn, where can we get these snippets?
I'm going to share all of these videos with Paul. I'll let Paul get in trouble because some of the stuff was not meant to be put online, and I'm going to let Paul use his description to share it.
What a resource for all of us. Just incredible.
It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, you know, when you showed me this to start with and said that you were going to encapsulate all the learnings that you had on your Japan study mission and put them into video format, it was solid gold. These are gold nuggets. Honestly, they're great. Okay, let's, Brad, have we got some questions from people? Can we get into the questions, please?
What's the name of the book and how could people get a copy?
Show us the book. Glenn, do you have a copy of it there just so we can get our eyeballs on it?
Can find it. My team are so enthusiastic about my book. It was really produced internally. It's called SnapCab, a Human Business. It's about a year old. I can share it with people, but I did it for our team. The reason I made the book was that now that I'm in my 60s, I'm looking to eventually pass the company on to, I don't want to sell the company. I'd rather continue with it with the employees that we have. So it's going to get passed down one way or another. And so this is the book here. So it's kind of a constitution of how, operating manual of how I'd want to see the company run. And it'd be super annoying if you pass the company down and then they all decided to sell it to you'd like to continue with this legacy of what we're doing here.
We got to get this on audio so everyone can hear it.
How many people you got working for you, Glenn?
I've got 90 people in the States and about 40 people here in Canada.
You've created a safe place for people to take the risk of admitting that they don't know how to do something or they have a problem. And then the management team is there to support, train, and develop as opposed to criticize or chastise.
Nobody gets up in the morning wanting to do a bad job.
Yeah, Deming, it's so beautiful. I think it's so interesting that you've devoted so much time to the culture side of a company. And we're not talking about the financial side or anything else, but we're talking about the cultural side, because when you get that right and really you're doing this way upstream and making sure you get the right people before you ever do anything else.
That's right.
And that's really the essence of this thing, was getting the right people on the bus. Jim Collins, good to great. And then things go a lot better. And then you have all the supporting things to support that belief system.
That's right. We can grow the company as quickly as we can grow leaders. Community I grew up in as a kid, they were very use focused. They said it's all about being useful. If you want to care for somebody, that means you're being useful for them. You being useful to them. It's all about being useful to the other person. And when I went to Japan, what Toyota was teaching, respecting the employees, quality for the customers, that paralleled what I learned as a kid when I was growing up. The business of what Toyota had and the attitude of what I learned going to church, and I went to a private school, and it's almost the exact same thing. One was talking about a spiritual thing. The other was talking about a sort of practical running a business thing, but at the core of both of those things is being useful to somebody else.
Unpack useful. What does that mean? I want to hear it from your mouth. What does useful mean?
Well, Toyota would say creating value for your customer. John Richards, I'm remembering his name now, he's really funny because he'll be standing in the kitchen and he's like, well, Mike, how can I create value? I'll do the dishes. But what he could say, how could I be useful? I'll do the dishes. It's creating value. I grew up with the term being useful. So
I love that term. I love that term.
So I think, and I think we've all seen the success that Toyota's enjoyed by creating value. Their focus is on creating value, not on making money. They would not be doing the training they're doing, and they would not be doing, they wouldn't be hosting us over in Japan if they're so darn focused on how much money can we make. They're focused on how can we create value for the world, how to be useful. And I think I would like to have SnabCab be a model for the world of how you can be successful at being useful, because I think a lot of people go into business, not so shocking. It's like, oh, I think I can make money doing this. But if you put your focus on making money,
being useful
differently, you behave differently than you do if your focus is on being useful.
I love that word. That is a great word, a great concept, Glenn.
Okay.
Really well.
Thank you.
Glenn
Get the
and team,
t-shirt.
This is incredible what you've given us today. I mean, this is a true example of hire the passion, train the skill. And this is what you do. You hire passionate people who are going to walk with you, that you're going to lead them the right direction, and they're going to work together with each other to build a great culture. Good. Glenn and team, thank you so much for that. Okay. And without further ado,
by AME and paulakers.net, where you can find all my books and resources on my website, paulakers.net, for free. You can even get my new app, 2-Second Lean Play, where I have all my books available in 9 languages in the audio format, designed for you to listen while you work and play at paulakers.net or Lean Play.